Hello friends, welcome to the Edupedia world. Well, in this tutorial, we'll cover the part 2 of concurrency control in Java. So in this tutorial, we'll study what is critical section, how to prevent race condition, we'll study about thread safety and object member variable, and then we'll study Java thread local class. So let's begin. So the first topic is critical section. Running more than one thread inside the same application does not by itself cause the problem. The problem arises when multiple threads access the same resource. For instance, the same memory, variable, arrays or objects. Inside system we can include database, web services, etc. or files. In fact, the problem arises if or one or more of the threads write these resources. It is safe to let multiple threads read the same resource as long as the resource do not change. Here is critical section Java code example that may fail if executed by multiple threads simultaneously. So you can see we are having a class counter, we are having a protected long count, and then we are having a add method which is long value. Okay, and then we are assigning this dot count equals to this dot count plus value. So this is a critical section. It may fail if multiple threads try to access the same count variable and it may give some wrong result which we don't want. Okay, now let's imagine two threads A and B are executing the add method on the same instance of counter class. There is no way to know the operating system switches between the two threads. The code in add method is not executed as a single atomic instruction by Java Virtual Machine. Rather, it is executed as set of smaller instructions similar to this. Okay, just see this instruction. It is saying read this dot count from memory into register. Then it's saying add value to register. Then it is saying write register to memory. So these are the three things that it is currently doing. And what we need to do is we need to make sure that each thread is able to add the value to register once, and it should not be in a way that it could cause a deadlock or it could cause a race condition over here. But if our method is like this, which we have already written the code above, there is highly likelihood of having a code run, multiple threading runs the same code simultaneously, thus producing the wrong result. Okay guys, let's move forward. So this is the example, and over here you can see when the code access the line, when the code access the count variable. So this is how thread A and thread B perform. First of all, thread A read this dot count into register 0. Then thread B also read this dot count into register 0. Okay, so currently the value of count is 0 in both the cases. Now B adds the value 2 to the register and writes the value 2 back to the memory. That makes count equals to 2. Now A, which was having the value as 0, adds the value 3 to the register and writes the value 3 back to the memory. Now count will become equals to 3. The two threads wanted to add the values 2 and 3 to the counter. So what we need to do is we need to keep on adding the value. So once 2 is added, the thread A should get the updated value and then it should add 3 to that. But since thread A also read the count as 0 initially, so that's why instead of getting the output as 5, we are getting the output as 3. Fine. In the execution sequence example listed above, both the threads read the value 0 from the memory, then they add their individual values 2 and 3 to the value and write the result back to the memory. Instead of 5, the value left in this is this dot count will be value written by the last thread to write this value. In the above case, it is thread A, but it could as well be thread B. So it can happen anyway, but in both the cases, it will give us a wrong result. So now what is race condition in critical section? Although we have already seen what is race condition, but let's see how it occurs in critical section. Well, the code in add method is an example earlier contains the critical section. When multiple threads execute this critical section, race condition occurs. More formally, the situation where two threads complete the same resource, where the sequence in which resources exist is significant, is called the race condition. The code section leads to race condition is called critical section. Okay, now how to prevent the race condition? To prevent the race condition from occurring, you must make sure that critical section is executed as an atomic instruction. Okay guys, so to prevent the race condition from occurring, you must make sure that critical section is executed as an atomic instruction. That means that once a single thread is executing it, no other threads can execute until the first thread has left the critical section. So critical section is basically those sections where race condition could occur. Race condition is a condition where two threads, fight or races each other, and one thread just, move forward than other thread, and the resulting output will become inconsistent. So that is what race condition, and it always happens in critical section. So critical section is that area of a code or that piece of code where race condition can occur. Okay, and to prevent, you must make sure that if one thread is running, it should complete the complete atomic operation, or it should it should not allow the other thread to enter into critical section once that has left. Now, race condition can be avoided by proper thread synchronization in critical section. Thread synchronization can be achieved using a synchronized block of Java code. The thread synchronization must be achieved using other synchronization constructs like blocks or atomic variables like java.util.atomic integer. So synchronization is something we have already seen when we were studying threads, but logs is something we need to see. Now let's move forward. Okay, we see some of the points about the thread safety. The code that is safe to call by multiple threads simultaneously is called thread safe code. If a piece of code is thread safe, then it contains no race condition. Race condition only occur when multiple threads update the shared resources. Therefore, it is important to know what resource Java thread shared when executing. Local variables. Local variables are stored in each thread's own stack. So, like every variable is stored in a Java memory. So, all the local variables are stored in each thread's own stack. So, that means every thread will have its own Java stack, and all the local variables are stored in that stack. That means the local variables are never shared between threads. So, each thread must be having its own local variable. It's never shared. This also means that all local primitive variables are thread safe by default. Okay, so you don't need to do anything to make a local variable thread safe. It is automatically thread safe because each thread will have its own local variable. So this is an example of thread safe local primitive variable. You see inside a method, some method, we are having a primitive local variable which is thread safe int, and we have assigned the value as 0. It is of type long, and then we are incrementing the thread safe int. So now this is absolutely safe, and since it's a local variable, so each thread will be having its own thread safe int variable. Okay, now moving forward, thread object references. Local references to object are a bit different. Okay, the reference itself is not shared. The object referenced, however, is not stored in each thread's local stack. The objects are rather stored in heap memory. So when we talk about objects, they are not stored into local stacks, so they are not local to each thread, rather they are stored into heap. So that means they are shared. If object created locally never escaped the method it was created in, it is thread safe. In fact, you can also pass it on to other method and objects as long as no one of these methods or objects make the passed object available to others. So if an object that is created locally and never escapes that method, that means it is thread safe. In fact, you can also pass it on to other methods as an object as long as none of these methods or object make passed object available to other threads. So as long as it remains within a thread, it's safe. But usually you must have seen the objects that we create are, we kind of share them because of some special purposes within the thread. So as such, objects are not thread safe. In order to make them thread safe, you should make them method local. Here is an example of thread safe local object. So you see over here we are having public void sum method, and inside the sum method we are having a local object. So now this local object is actually local to method 2, and method 2 is using this object, and this object is kept local to this method, and it's never used by multiple threads. So that's why this is a local thread safe object. The local thread safe instances in this example is not returned from the method, nor it is passed to any other object that are accessible from outside the sum method. Each thread executing some method will create its own local object instance and assign it to local object reference. Therefore, the use of local object here is thread safe. In fact, the whole sum method is thread safe. Why so? Because there is nothing, that is going outside to another thread. Even if local object instance is passed as a parameter to other thread in same class or in other class, the use of it is thread safe. The only exception is, of course, if one of our methods called with the local object as parameter stores the local object instance in a way that allow access to it from other ends. Okay guys, moving forward to object member variable. Object member variable fields are stored on heap along with the object. Therefore, if two threads call a method on same object instance and this method updates the object member variable, the method is not thread safe. Here is an example of method that is not thread safe. So you see over here we are having public class that is creating a string builder object. And this string builder object is passed or used inside the add method. Now if two threads call the add method simultaneously on the same not thread safe instance, then it leads to race condition. Okay, for instance, just see this. We are having not thread safe and we have created an instance, shared instance, and both the threads that we have created below are using the same shared instance, and we are calling the run method using dot start. Okay. Then we are having a public class myRunnable implements runnable, and inside that we have created a instance of not thread safe instance equals to null, and we are actually initializing that, and we are having the run method. Inside the run method we are calling the add method of this class. Fine, by calling using some text. So you see, since both of them are using a same resource, then the builder will actually append some text and some text in a way, that it will not properly append as we wanted to, since it is not a thread safe class and the builder instance will be common. So each time, although we might want to have a different builder instance, but it will be using the same builder instance and keep on appending the same thing to the builder instance. So that was something that we don't wanted. Okay guys, that was about a local variable and reference variable and how they can be thread safe or not thread safe. Now let's see some more points about thread safety. Well, race condition occur only if multiple threads are accessing the same resource and one or more of the threads write the resource. If multiple threads read the same resource, race condition do not occur. We can make sure that objects shared between threads are never updated by any of the threads by making shared object immutable and thereby thread safe. Here is an example. So in the example you see we are having a class immutable value, and then we are having private int value equals to 0. Then we are having immutable value, or you can say a constructor, and inside the constructor we are taking int value, and then we are assigning this dot value equals to value. Similarly, we are having a getValue method also. Now, notice how the value of immutable value instance is passed to a constructor. Notice also how there is no setter method. Once an immutable instance is created, you cannot change its value. It is immutable. You can read it, however, using get value. So for reading it, the get value is available, but for setting, set value is not available. And the value is assigned as soon as you create it through a constructor. Okay, now reference is not thread safe. It is important to remember that even if our object is immutable and thereby thread safe, the reference to this object may not be thread safe. Okay. Why? So just look at this example. We are having public class calculator, and then we are having private immutable value current value equals to null, and then we are having public immutable value dot get value. Similarly, we are having set value and add. Okay. Now, calculator class holds a reference to an immutable instance. Notice how it is possible to change that reference through both the set value and add methods. Therefore, even the calculator class uses an immutable object internally. It is not itself immutable and therefore not thread safe. In other words, the immutable value class is thread safe, but the use of it is not. It is something to keep in mind when trying to achieve the thread safety through immutability. To make the calculator class thread safe, you could have declared get value, set value, and add method as synchronized. That would have done the trick. Fine, so this is how we can make this reference as thread safe. Now coming to the last topic of this tutorial is Java thread local class. Okay. The thread local class in Java enables you to create variables that can only be read and written by the same thread. This even if two threads are executing the same code, the code has a reference to thread local variable. Then these two threads cannot see each other's thread local variable. So how to create thread local variable? This is a code. So you can do private, then thread local is a class, and then you can create an object of this class equals to new thread local. Okay. As you can see, you can initiate the new thread local object. This only needs to be done once per thread. Even if different threads execute the same code which accesses the thread local, each thread will see only its own thread local instance. Even if two different threads sets a different value on same thread local object, they cannot see each other's value. Fine, so it will remain, thread private. Then how to access the thread local? Once a thread local has been created, you can set the value to be stored in it like this. My thread local dot set, and then you can pass a thread local value, whatever value you want to pass. And to read the value in thread local is done like this, where you do my thread local dot get and take it as a string. Fine. The get method returns an object and set method takes the object as a parameter. Now what are generic thread local? You can create a generic thread local so that you do not have to typecast the value returned by get. Here is an example. So, over here what we have done is we have used a generic thread local where we are using of string type. And since it's a string type thread local, so whenever we do get, you don't need to typecast it. It will automatically give you a string value and you can simply save in a string thread local value. Okay, so now you can only store strings in thread local instance. Additionally, you do not need to typecast the value obtained from thread local. Fine, so this is, our advantage of creating a generic thread local. Now, what is initial thread local value? Since the values set on thread local object only are visible to the thread whose set the value, and no thread can set an initial value on thread local using set which is visible to all threads. So that says whenever you are setting the value to thread local object, only are visible to thread who sets the value. So whichever thread will be setting the value, it will be visible to only that thread. And no other thread can set the initial value using set which is visible to all the threads. Instead, you can specify an initial value for a thread local object by subclassing thread local and overriding the initial value method. So you can even, create your own class and extend thread local. So this is we can say a way of doing the same. So we are doing the same thing but in a shorthand notation, or you can say writing the lesser code to do the same thing. So over here you can see we are doing private thread local, my thread local equals to new thread local string. And then we are starting this bracket, and over here itself we are overriding this method initial value. And whatever initial value we want to provide to this object, we can do that using this. So this was about thread local. So in this tutorial, we have covered thread local, we have covered thread safety and object member variables, we have covered race condition and critical section. So I hope so you have enjoyed this tutorial, and let's meet in part 3 of concurrency control tutorial. Okay guys, thank you.